tonight. Canada's former Governor-General, appointed to investigate foreign interference in Canadian elections, has resigned. Also, as we continue to navigate this hotter than normal June, the city of Saskatoon is taking its extreme heat emergency response to level 2. Plus, a busy weekend in the Queen City with Pride celebrations and dinosaurs roaring into town.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, June 9th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thanks for watching. We begin tonight with news out of Ottawa. Former Governor-General David Johnston is resigning as Special Rapporteur on Foreign Interference. Johnston says he will be stepping down no later than the end of June after delivering a brief final report. Prime Minister Trudeau had appointed Johnston in March to look into reports of Chinese meddling in Canadian politics. The opposition parties had been calling for a public inquiry, and Johnston advised against it, saying a public inquiry would not be a useful way to deal with what is almost exclusively classified information. Opposition parties also accused Johnston of bias because of past associations with the Trudeau family and Trudeau Foundation. In his resignation letter today, Johnston said his objective was to help build trust in democratic institutions. But he says, quote, "Given the highly partisan atmosphere around my appointment and work, my leadership has had the opposite effect." Back here at home, it is hot and things will be similar for the next several days. Then, scorching temperatures expected to grip our province. The city of Saskatoon is implementing its Level 2 extreme heat emergency response. Aishwarya Dutta has more on what that means.
The sun is out across much of the province.
I'm going to sit under the shade of a nice big tree, drink a beer.
And here in Saskatoon, people are taking in the rays and getting ready for the temperatures to rise on Sunday.
Lots of water, probably. Thankfully, I have air conditioning, so that helps. But if you don't have air conditioning, I think follow, like when it's cool at night, open your windows, have fans. But definitely hydrate and stay out of the sun as much as possible.
The city is activating its extreme heat emergency response starting Sunday. That comes into effect when temperatures are above 32 degrees or at least 16 degrees overnight for about 3 to 7 days. Air quality is also a factor. There is smoke in the city and currently the index is at 8 out of 10. The emergency response includes giving people access to cooling locations, distributing water, and wellness checks.
It's going to be extremely hot for 2 or more days, up until 7 days, and it's not going to cool down very much at night. So the air temperature is going to stay hot, people's homes are going to stay hot. It's really something we need to watch out for.
She also recommends people check on their neighbors without air conditioning, especially seniors or people with pre-existing health conditions.
We really want residents to look out for each other. We can't reach everybody, but we know somebody watching this can reach someone who needs the support.
Cooling locations will be listed on the city's website and include places like public libraries and leisure centers. There will also be extended hours at spray parks for kids and parents to cool off and have fun.
We're lucky we live like half a block away from a spray park, so we can cool off before we go or even cool off after we come back.
And things won't be changing for a while. The extreme heat emergency is expected to last until June 14th. Aishwarya Dutta, CBC News, Saskatoon.
And Ethan will have more on your weather coming up in a few minutes. As we told you last night, the opening day of Regina's newest pool was cut short after an incident involving bear spray. Alexander Kwan has more from Wascana Pools, reopened today.
For the people at the Wascana Pool this afternoon, it was just another day of fun in the sun. Many people brought their young children to enjoy the first Free Friday swim at Regina's newest pool. It's a stark contrast to what it looked like yesterday, with police outside and a quiet, empty pool after opening day was cut short. Police say more than 200 people were exposed to bear spray in an incident Thursday afternoon. They're still looking for the group of 4 or 5 teenagers allegedly responsible. But at Wascana Pool today, the incident was far from everyone's mind.
I love the pool. Absolutely love the pool. Yeah, I mean, this is a brand new facility, second day old. It's beautiful here.
I think there's going to be an awful lot of children this summer that are going to have a very good time here. There's lots for everybody, though. You know, like I see every age here.
That was my one concern about lockers. Lockers outside, perfect, accessible. The water is perfect temperature, not too cold. I love it. It's lovely.
The city of Regina says it is increasing security at the new facility. On Friday, that took the form of private security guards. And while they made their presence known, no one we spoke to said they felt unsafe.
Well, I just heard about it this morning from my wife. I believe it's just an isolated incident, and hopefully it's just a one-time thing, somebody just trying to cause grief or make a bit of a scene for themselves.
Jim Healy had hoped to check out the pool Thursday, but found it closed. The incident didn't deter him on Friday. CBC found him in the pool.
Attended a few other matters this morning, and here I am.
So no worries at all about your security? You feel safe right now in the pool?
I don't think anybody's going to bother me.
It's back to normal at the Wascana Pool, as people hope to beat the South Saskatchewan heat this summer. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
In Saskatoon, the city released a financial update earlier this week. It showed a $52 million shortfall in next year's budget and another $23 million the year after. It foreshadows a spike in property taxes if City Council doesn't do something to free up money. Documents from the city show preliminary increases at an 18.6% increase for 2024, then almost 7% in 2025. The majority of the blame placed on inflation. The numbers are early and likely to change, but they have caused concern.
So many people right now are seeing interest rates go up. They're worried about their mortgage payments going through the roof. Many taxpayers are also just struggling to afford groceries. So city councilors, they better be spending their summer months going line by line in the budget to find the necessary savings, because there is no way that taxpayers can afford to be clobbered with an 18% plus property tax hike.
For us to throw these numbers out is just creating fear. And we shouldn't be doing that until we've had some proper conversations about how we can actually present some viable, real numbers to the citizens. 13%, it's not going to happen. 18% is not going to happen. 13% is not going to happen. I can even tell you I won't be supporting a 6% increase in property tax.
A City Council committee will consider the budget status in a meeting next week on Wednesday. Budget deliberations won't begin until November. Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are ready to rumble. The team is rolling after winning both preseason games, now focused on week 1 of the regular season. The Riders are looking to bounce back from an unsuccessful 2022 season. The team finished 6-12 and missed the playoffs. The team's now headed tomorrow to face the Edmonton Elks, and the players are amped.
You can tell the guys are looking forward to it. I mean, we had a great camp, but they're excited to play games now, and we're into the regular season, so it's fun.
I'm ready to go out there and bibbity-bop the defense and have some fun playing football. We're not even paying attention to last year. That was in the rearview mirror. We're not even looking at it. We're just focused on this year, and you know, the room's a completely different room than last year. We're all new here. It's a new coach, new everything, so we're just ready for this year.
I mean, it's exciting. You know, like I said, we had a bad, that sour taste in our mouth last year, so now it's just it's refreshing. Take a deep breath. New slate, clean slate. It's kind of go out there and ball and do what we do, and work hard to get this victory.
The Riders kick off the regular season Sunday against an Elks team that have lost 17 home games in a row. The Elks are promoting it as a guaranteed win. Kickoff Sunday is at 5 o'clock. Well, hot and smoky in much of Saskatchewan today, so much the pavement literally sizzles. Some people tried to beat the heat at this spray park in Saskatoon today, despite the smoky skies. I imagine more spray parks will be in order this weekend with more warm weather to come. Ethan, we'll have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Taku River Chilcat First Nation is celebrating the return of a piece of cultural history. An intricately woven blanket that dates back over 100 years is on its way home. But as Cheryl Kawaja reports, it comes at a price.
Anticipation and joy at the Whitehorse Airport.
I'm ready to cry because it's back where it belongs.
As a special cargo and clan leaders arrive, a heartfelt welcome.
We brought her home!
This marks the return of a cherished woven Chilcat blanket taken from the community sometime in the 1800s.
I've always dreamt of, is there a Chilcat blanket that's ever going to come back to our community? This is a big deal.
In a simple box marked fragile, the blanket is a direct connection to the Taku River Tlingit ancestors.
It's our culture calling to us to come get it, for us to go get it, for us to come and celebrate it, because that's what we're trying to do every day. There's so much oppression that we live every day that this is we have to celebrate everything, every win.
The blanket was in an unknown private collection. It appeared up for auction in Toronto last fall. Luckily, it was spotted by an avid art collector originally from the local community. After a nail-biting bidding war and tens of thousands of dollars, it's here. Paying to repatriate or rematriate this piece of their own history makes this joyous homecoming a little bittersweet. Elder Kaiushi O'Shea hopes whoever profited from the sale might come to know the story and significance, maybe even give back the money.
Hopefully, the person would have feelings later down the road and return it, and the youth could use it.
But today is about celebration. This summer, the community will officially unveil, honor, and welcome the return of this long-missing treasured robe in Atlin, northern BC. Cheryl Kawaja, CBC News, Whitehorse.
This weather update is brought to you by Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. Smoky all over Saskatchewan today.
Yeah, so much you can almost taste it in some parts of the province. It is really thick, and in fact, we do have special air quality advisories still in place as far south as the Kindersley-Rosetown area around Saskatoon. They've dropped off for Prince Albert now, but they extend northward from there. And we are also seeing heat warnings in far northern Saskatchewan, La Loche, Uranium City, Stony Rapids areas. Criteria a little bit lower for you for heat warnings than the southern part of the province, but highs near 30 degrees through Saturday, Sunday. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, this is kind of early for this type of heat. And when was the last time it was this hot in early June? And thankfully, Rolf Campbell has the answer. He is the guy who is keeping track of weather stats across the country. He keeps stats for Regina, not for Saskatoon, but south and central Saskatchewan, we've been seeing very similar conditions so far. And if we take a look at our daytime high, we have had 15 consecutive days now above 20 degrees in the Queen City. That's the longest stretch before June 10th. Since 1988, so 35 years. Overnight lows, we had 4 consecutive nights here above 15 degrees. That's the longest run in the month of June since 1988. And we can also look at humidex as well. A humidex level above 30 degrees. We've seen 6 consecutive days. That ended today, by the way, in Regina. But that is the longest run before June 10th since 1988 as well. And 1988, if you remember, was a real bad drought year in the province. Almost $2 billion in crop losses. This year, though, we've had all that moisture, almost 90% of our moisture in Regina in these first few days of June. And so that has helped. But things are going to remain dry over the next while as we have high pressure keeping things dry in the province, also cooling down the winds, getting rid of that humidex factor, and that is really not going anywhere. It's a real broad area here through the province and through Manitoba as well, portions of northwestern Ontario. And for these next few days, we're not going to be seeing those thunderstorms, not a whole lot of systems moving through the province, but that is also increasing the fire risk. We're seeing high to extreme ratings, so we may not be dealing with the extreme drought that we saw in 1988, but we are worried about the active fires that are in the northern part of the province. Smoke also going to be moving around this weekend. You can see these heavier bands in southern Saskatchewan, southwesterly or southeasterly winds rather, going to be pushing that out as we get into tomorrow, but it's going to be pushing it into northern Saskatchewan, and then things moving eastward as we head into Sunday mean that northern Saskatchewan will likely see those advisories for a while yet. And we are seeing air quality drop as well tonight specifically, but we do get some improvement in south and central tomorrow. For Regina, it is going to be bright and sunny, but we will actually see things back off in terms of our temperature these next couple of days as a cold front has moved through. So the weekend quite nice, scorching Monday, Tuesday. Maybe we will see some relief as we head into next week in Saskatoon. Same thing here. It looks like, Sam, there could be a break from the heat, some moisture and cooler temperatures coming, so good news there.
Nice to see a light at the end of the warm tunnel.
Indeed.
All right, thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Well, it's Pride Week in Regina, and a big part of the celebration each year is the Pride Parade. The annual event gets underway tomorrow at noon with 122 entrants. It starts at Alberta 13th Avenue and winds its way up to Albert Street to Victoria Avenue before turning down Broad Street past the CBC building and turning onto Quinn Drive into Wascana Park. It ends in the park because that is where you'll find Out in the Park celebrations. There you'll find 2 stages, a market, food trucks, kids activities, and a beer garden. The festivities run there until 5 o'clock. We'll be back after the break. There are more than 80 active wildfires burning in BC. One of the newest and most troubling has triggered an evacuation order near the town of Tumbler Ridge. More than 2,000 people have been told to leave, and as Lindsay Duncombe tells us, the fire also threatens a unique prehistoric conservation area.
About 4 kilometers from town, a wall of flame fanned by wind. The entire community of Tumbler Ridge, population 2,400, forced to flee. Angela Zimmer made the journey with her 3-year-old twin boys.
I actually showed them where the smoke was and what that meant, that there was a big fire coming. And they did this on their own accord. They started calling it a monster. And the firefighters and the fire trucks are going to go fight the monster. And we have to leave.
One of 2 main routes in and out of the community closed. The flames are just too close. Evacuees found safety in Fort St. John, Chetwynd, and Dawson Creek.
It hits you, right? It hits home. It's devastating, right? It's, it hits you right in the heart, and it makes you sad to see it. It's scary, right? Knowing that it's this early in the season.
Wildfire season in British Columbia usually peaks in July and August. BC Premier David Eby is urging people in the province to be careful.
Conditions are very dry, and we expect that to continue, according to the expert advice we're receiving. And so please use caution so that we can try our best to avoid a catastrophic fire season here in the province.
Also at risk, precious artifacts. Tumbler Ridge is home to a UNESCO Global Geopark. 12,000 people a year visit the area to see dinosaur bones and fossilized footsteps. For now, the community is safe. Emergency officials posted this video. Deserted, smoky, strange, and increasingly familiar. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
The newly elected Premier of Alberta introduced her cabinet today.
This new cabinet is ready and willing to roll up its sleeves to take clear and decisive action to achieve our promises and commitments to Albertans.
Danielle Smith's 25-member team was sworn in at Government House. Many of the ministers are from rural areas in Calgary. The United Conservative Party won a majority of seats in the election May 29th, but it lost a lot of cabinet experience, either through retirements or election losses. Smith said today her team will defend Alberta from what she called disastrous federal policies. Canada's unemployment rate has gone up for the first time in 9 months. It increased slightly to 5.2%. It had been holding steady at 5% since the beginning of the year. Stats Canada says the economy unexpectedly shed just over 17,000 full-time jobs in May. Analysts have been forecasting about 23,000 new jobs would be created for the month. The drop is seen as a possible sign that the Bank of Canada's efforts to slow the economy and rein in inflation may be starting to work. Earlier this week, the central bank increased its trend-setting overnight rate by 25 basis points to 4.75%. Right now, many market watchers expect to see another increase in July. The U.S. Justice Department says it will seek a speedy trial for Donald Trump. The former president is facing dozens of new criminal charges. They're related to his handling of secret and confidential documents. Chris Reyes is following the story.
I just want to tell you, I'm an innocent man. I did nothing wrong. And we will fight this out just like we've been fighting for 7 years.
A defiant Donald Trump took to social media after learning he'd become the first former president
ever to be criminally charged by the government he once headed. The former president is facing 37 felony charges related to his handling of classified documents at his Florida estate and other locations. They include violations of the Espionage Act, obstruction, and false statements.
It's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax, just like Russia, just like the fake dossier was a hoax.
The special counsel in charge of the investigation had this to say.
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk.
In March, Trump made history as the first U.S. president to face criminal state charges. Now he's facing federal charges with the possibility of prison time if convicted.
The walls around former President Trump are closing in from a legal perspective. While this is a serious and somber occasion, it's actually an example of one of the positives of America, accountability to the rule of law, even at the highest levels.
There's been an immediate and strong rebuke of the indictment from Republicans, including his challengers for the Republican nomination.
I had hoped the Department of Justice would see its way clear to resolve these issues with the former president without moving forward with charges.
2 lawyers representing Donald Trump resigned this morning, offering no explanation for their resignation beyond a statement saying this is a logical moment. The new lawyer heading his legal team has represented Trump before. A Trump aide is also facing charges. Walt Nauta was allegedly involved in moving the classified material at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Trump is expected to be arraigned in person at a Miami federal courthouse next Tuesday. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
And Ethan has bibbity-bopped back in with one last look at your weather. Still going to be really smoky tomorrow.
Yes, before I get in my pumpkin carriage and head on the way to the weekend, I bring with me some more smoke, unfortunately, tomorrow morning in Regina, where it's 16 under sunny conditions. Again, the winds from the east are going to help to pull that smoke out. It still could be a bit hazy by the time the Pride Parade kicks off in Regina, but actually not too bad of a Saturday. We'll be at 21 degrees at that point. East winds picking up just enough that it'll provide a nice light little breeze. And in Saskatoon, looking at 17 degrees under sunny skies tomorrow. Again, still hazy conditions, likely seeing that air quality improving. 23 and sunny by the time we hit the noon hour with those winds close to 30 kilometers an hour. You know who else is getting out of here fast for the weekend? This little duckling captured by Susan McDonald in Regina. And Susan said he's going so fast that it seems like he's already training for the Queen City Marathon. He will not be looking like that by the time the Queen City Marathon comes, though, Sam.
He'll be one of the scary geese that I like to avoid.
Yes, well, I'll be running from him.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Before we leave you this week, there is lots going on in and around Regina, but not everything will let you travel back in time to hang out with dinosaurs. Jurassic Quest has officially roared into town.
You smell that bone? There it is.
Now through Sunday, Jurassic Quest is set up at the Ivana Center in Real District. There's a lot you can experience, including playing with baby dinos, excavating fossils, or even training a raptor while being surrounded by massive life-size dinosaurs like the king himself, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Kids under 2 are free. General admission is $28.50, and seniors 65 and older do get a discount. If this sounds like it's something up your alley, you can find tickets at JurassicQuest.ca. And that is it for us this week. For News Anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ethan will be back with more tonight at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.